You have a big problem, because with all the amazing games coming out, you can't possibly know about every single one of them. You will miss some of the most impressive upcoming games. Luckily, you found my channel, and today I'll show you 11 amazing upcoming indie games you need to see. And I'm absolutely sure that there are games on this list you've never heard of. So get ready, open your wishlist, and let's get cracking. There are some things I can't get enough of, and that's pizza, sunny weather, and anime RPGs. And since this isn't a channel about food or the weather, let's talk about DragonSword Awakening instead. This extremely stylish open world RPG originally released as DragonSword in South Korea as a gacha game. But hold on, wait, because this version got rid of the live service and gacha mechanics. Now it's an action RPG with a tag team combat system, with 19 heroes to join your battle, a vast open world to explore, and tons of loot to collect. In its core, it will be quite similar to the likes of Genshin Impact and Wuthering Waves, but again, without the annoying gacha mechanics. Instead, you experience a story-driven adventure, ride fantastical beasts, and enjoy the unbelievably beautiful graphics. So, if you're like me and need a flashy action RPG now, DragonSword Awakening might just be what you're looking for. Cresata wears its Castlevania inspiration on its sleeve, and that's exactly why I'm excited for this. This is a side-scrolling action platformer with dynamic combat, dashes, deflects, and most importantly, a grappling mechanic, which is always a cool feature. But in this, it's the core mechanic. You can use it for exploration by swinging your way through dangerous areas, but also to grab enemies and pull yourself to them, or dodge attacks. Honestly, it's a pretty well-known mechanic we've seen a bunch of times, but I love when devs use it in creative ways and create a satisfying movement. Also, just like Castlevania, Cresata has a dark atmosphere underlined by a unique art style which combines 3D environments with 2D pixel characters. There's not really more we know so far, but honestly, the trailer alone gets me excited, as this is 100% up my street. I feel like this is going to be a very special game, so definitely add this to your wishlist. Sometimes you just need to combine two things to create something amazing. Salt and caramel, Simon and Garfunkel, or Souls-like elements with an isometric perspective. I mean, you could also combine your cursor with the subscribe button to create a better subscription feed, but what do I know, right? Anyway, Blades of Mirage is an action RPG set in a Southeast Asian-inspired world. The protagonist Mira has the ability to create water-based weapons, which allows her to use various melee and ranged weapons, and experiment with different combos and strategies. Overall, combat already looks super intense, and boss fights especially seem to offer a real challenge. Exploration and solving puzzles play an important role too, which are some of my favorite things to do in a game, so I'm hyped. Blades of Mirage looks amazing, and I can't wait for its release. Sometimes you just know when a game is going to be great, and that's the case with Demi and the Fractured Dream. Why am I so sure, you're asking? Because it's published by Annapurna Interactive, and as far as I'm concerned, they never disappoint. Demi and the Fractured Dream is an action-adventure probably inspired by the PS2 era and classic Zelda titles. Equipped with the Void ability, you have to explore several dungeons filled with environmental puzzles and make use of your arsenal of combat skills, spells, and tools to fight the monsters of the Void. With amulets and skill trees, you get to create a build for a playstyle you like. Oh yeah, and complex jump and run sections are in here too, so this game has basically everything I want from an action adventure. Demi and the Fractured Dream looks amazing, and if you feel the same, I highly recommend supporting devs by putting it on your wishlist. Look, I'm almost 36 now, so I grew up in the 90s and early 2000s, so of course I feel nostalgic about anime from that time, and that's why Vivarium definitely hits a nerve, because man, this looks like a playable anime from the 80s. You play Jenny, and somehow she lives in a terrarium. The twist is that the game syncs with your real calendar, so every day there are new things to discover which let you learn more about the story and Jenny. So it's all about exploring the terrarium, making friends, cooking, gardening, collecting LPs, crafting and decorating your home. In between all that, there's a story to experience that promises to be very cozy and relaxing. Vivarium looks like it's going to be very unique and just a nice change of pace. Definitely keep an eye on this. I have a feeling this is going to be great. No video on my channel without a JRPG. Gravastar is a story-driven JRPG with a fast-paced conditional turn-based combat system, inspired by 2D fighting games. That means attacks change depending on your input, which creates a feeling for combos similar to that of 2D fighting games. But conditional turn-based also means strategic depth, which probably makes this one of the most interesting combat systems in an upcoming RPG. Besides combat, you get all the classic JRPG things to do, like recruiting characters for your party, exploring fantastical worlds even on a world map, and experiencing a story of a character without parents. Normal JRPG things, right? If you're an RPG enthusiast, you should really add this to your wishlist. Gravastar looks amazing. What do you get if you combine Monster Hunter with Pokemon and Animal Crossing? Right, you get this upcoming action RPG called Monster Fantasy. Yep, that sounds crazy, and it probably is, but it also sounds like a hell lot of fun. You create your own character, hunt giant monsters to earn materials, craft new gear, and hunt even bigger monsters. Unlike Monster Hunter though, you even choose one of 4 classes, each with unique combat mechanics. If you ever get tired of hunting them, you can always choose to catch them instead and basically force them to be your friends. Classic Pokemon style. And if you ever get tired of that too, you just enjoy your slow life as a miner, blacksmith, alchemist and more with over 100 villages. So there sure is something for everyone. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the character design, but I can easily look past that if the gameplay is fun. It sure does sound like it is, and that's why I'll keep an eye on Monster Fantasy, and you should too. I was not surprised at all to see the announcement of Gravity Circuit 2 because the first one is brilliant, and there just had to be a second one. This is basically more of the same, which means fast-paced 2D action platforming with incredibly fluid movement, fantastic level design, and fun to use abilities. This time, you get a second playable character though, that feels and plays very differently. The over a dozen levels play out differently depending on how much you use each character, which adds a ton of replay value. Bosses grant new abilities and circuit shards further enhance your character's skills to move, attack and defend. The first Gravity Circuit is one of the best side-scrolling platformers I've played in years, so I'm sure the sequel is going to be amazing. I highly recommend adding this to your wishlist. Oh look, another Souls-like with an isometric perspective. Memoria Wake gives me heavy Death's Door vibes, and that's a big compliment. In a typical Souls-like fashion, combat is all about dodging and parrying at the right time, and using an opening to strike. Besides the sword, you get 4 powerful secondary weapons, which means a lot of variety when it comes to how you approach different combat situations. Exploring the world rewards you with fragments that allow you to learn new combat abilities, and honestly, I always love when exploration rewards me with something actually useful. That way, combat and exploration are interconnected in a fun way. If you're ready for your next Souls-like and you want it to look a little cuter than Dark Souls, you probably can't go wrong with Memoria Wake. Sometimes a game grabs my attention simply with its art style and animations. Dungeon Lurker is a case like that, but man, the gameplay looks incredibly fun. This is a retro action roguelike with brawler-like combat. You descend into the depths of a dungeon with over 30 unique handcrafted levels to conquer and explore. Since this is a roguelike, you will die a lot, return to the surface and upgrade your equipment, spells and charms to increase your chances for the next run. While the trailer might not show it, there is an interesting piece of information on the Steam page that says "Decipher forbidden knowledge in the game's manual. It contains more secrets than you might expect. That sounds awfully familiar to one of the coolest features of Tunic, one of my favorite indie games ever. I'm sorry I can't really explain it, but something tells me Dungeon Lurker is going to be a big hit. At least I hope so. Adding this to your wishlist will probably help a lot. One of the most influential JRPGs of the 90s was Xenogears, so it's no surprise other games draw a lot of inspiration from it. Lair of Caellum Spirit is a JRPG that seems to capture the aesthetic of Xenogears and, most importantly, gives us turn-based combat with cool looking mechs. Just like in Xenogears, you don't get a static menu in combat though. Instead, you need to master the input combo system, where your timing dictates your power. So it's all about chaining specific inputs to unleash devastating techniques, as well as perfect guards, if you get the timing right. The world is filled with interesting side quests, minigames and hidden lore, which is something, if done right, that I absolutely love. The gorgeous 2.5D pixel art is the cherry on top of this retro cake. I absolutely can't wait to get my hands on this and kick some ass in a mech. If Lair of Caellum Spirit is up your alley, you definitely help the devs by adding this to your wishlist. Come on, did I promise too much? There were some games in this video added to your wishlist, am I right? If so, hit subscribe to never miss my videos about indie games, JRPGs and more. And let me know in the comments what upcoming game you're looking forward to. I'd love to hear some recommendations. Alright, thanks for watching, have a great day, and until next time, bye.